and comes to some kind of agreement on whether this conflict can be resolved just within the family. And usually it happens where everybody goes away happy, you know. And two people that were in conflict usually go away either shaking hands or go away without no problem. But if you go to the court system, one wins and one loses, eh? And that carried on for the rest of their lives, you know. They become bad enemies sometimes, and it creates violence sometimes. I've seen people where it got to a point where they went and killed the other member of the family. Eh? And it's happened in our people just recently. The elders wanted to bring it to a tribal system. The younger people said, no, we'll take it to the courts. And it didn't work out. There's lots of, I guess the present system, people maybe feel threatened that the system we use might work better than the other system. But I think we got some judges convinced that we can deal with some of those, even near the violent ones too. And I was working during the year, or during the last 10 years. I brought that system into the penitentiary, where there was a lot of our native people. There's no programs in them, so I took this program into penitentiary. Most of those people that were in there had taken somebody's life during some kind of conflict in their families. And it worked. And I guess we can go back to the longhouse when I say that, you know. It's more of a preventative measures to when we have young people that are troubled. And we try to take them back there spiritually. It's not a place of correction or punishment. We've had so much controversy over. Controversy comes from people not understanding. When an individual goes back, or if the family decide that that individual should go back and maybe learn a little bit of his values, his Aboriginal or family value. And we say the healing starts in that home. For us, the healing place is here for us. This is where we come into balance again in full circle. We sing because of joy, and we sing because of sadness too. And that together creates such a powerful feeling that's hard to describe to non-Aboriginal. That feeling. But every one of us that are members of this house, we know that feeling. I say, thank you for coming. That's the difference, I think, between the two systems. But there's always some kind of barrier to developing something like that. We've been here for years, but they say, well, we didn't have a government, or we didn't have a system, or we didn't have anything. We were just a bunch of wild people living here in this country. But I don't think so. We had a system. The tribal system was very effective. I know when I was growing up, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I felt some of that working, or I've seen it working. But today, I think because of some of what we let our kids do. In my home, if my grandchildren are there, they don't watch violence. I'll shut that TV off. But for some families, we just let that happen. And we find our children going astray and we wonder what happened. I said one day that, for me, I don't blame everything for my problems or for the problems of my people. I blame some of that fault on ourselves because the lack of using that teaching that we still have today. But in the past few years, I've kind of dedicated my life to talking about it and to say something about it and try and help young people. And I'll continue to do that until I can't do it no more. Even this project I'm on now is going to put young people in the water and to be training. And whenever they're here looking at it, then I talk about the spiritual things about handling cedar. I tell stories about the same as what my grandfathers used to tell me, of how important it is to really believe that, believe in yourself, that there's something good in you, that you can do things as well as anybody else. And just because you're a native person and you feel that, you can't do these things or you're not allowed to do these things, and we can't say that no more. A person that, would like to see my people become law professors in the future. But I don't want them to forget the values that they have, or in the past, the values they've had in the past. I often think about my grandfather when I speak like that. There's a stream down by the graveside. I used to sit at the stream and think about the teachings of my grandfather, of how proud he was to be Indian. And he relayed that message to me. He said, "Grandson, be proud of who you are. Never let your language go," he said that to me. Speak it all the time. Be proud that you can speak your language. And I'm fluent in 2 dialects, Sansasan and Halkamenam. And I'm proud that I can do that. And I'd sit there a long, long time, and sometimes I hear the wind blowing. And then I hear what those old people used to say, sometimes there's a real blessing in the wind and you hear them blowing through the trees. And you can almost make out a song, And you're relaxed. You feel good. Sometimes I'd sit there till dusk just thinking about those things. I'm still the same way. I'll sit out here, and think about those things, the teachings of the old people, which is so valuable. And I've been a part of creating some kind of curriculum for the school now and teaching some of those values in our schools here in District 63. I hope that's part of the solution that we need to have to develop our own way